everyone, it's me. I know you haven't seen me in a while, and I have a really good reason why I have been MIA basically since Miss Universe. So my boyfriend and I were in contact with someone who was COVID-19 positive, so we had to quarantine, self-isolate for 2 weeks, and we had to get 2 COVID-19 tests just to make sure we were safe. So he was always around, and of course he knows that I do this, but I'm still just a little bit apprehensive and shy to film around him. So I'm so sorry that I have been missing, and I was meaning to do a reaction to Miss Namibia, but as you guys know, Miss Namibia happened like at 6 p.m. on a Saturday night, so of course my boyfriend was around playing loud music, so a reaction really wouldn't have worked, and I was really struggling with myself whether or not I was going to even cover Miss Namibia at all, because I really don't agree with the organization's way of doing things. I think that the Miss Namibia organization itself leaves a lot to be desired in terms of the way they treat people, in terms of the way they do things, but that's another video. I decided to cover the pageant after all, just because I wanted to support the ladies competing, and there were some amazing contestants competing. Earlier yesterday, because the pageant happened last night, I shared my top 5 picks for the crown on my Instagram page. This is why I urge you guys really to follow me on Instagram, because I do post lots of stuff there that you guys don't get to see on here, that I find interesting, and I really just think you would benefit from following me on Instagram, so please do so. So I posted my top 5 picks for the Miss Namibia crown there, and that top 5 was Aurelia, Chelsea, Andeline, Priska, and of course Chloe. Chloe, of course, being a very big fan favorite. So with the show starting tonight, first things first, the sponsors. You guys know Miss Namibia always makes their sponsors the judges for some reason. Some of these people truly have no business judging a pageant. It's really silly to me that the Miss Namibia organization makes the sponsors the judges, because these people, really, some of them, aside from I think two of them are involved in the fashion or beauty industry in some way, but really they have no business being judges. I would rather see past Miss Namibia winners. I would rather see people who are really involved in the beauty industry. Let's talk about the host. He was so charming. I really enjoyed Adriano Versace's hosting. I really think that the Miss Namibia organization should bring him back next year. I enjoyed the fact that there was only one host. Usually the Miss Namibia organization has 2 hosts, usually a male and a female, and I hate the concept of 2 hosts. I think one charismatic host is more than enough, and I think that Adriano Versace did a great job, and he was one of the best hosts that Namibia has had in years. And with that being said, I must say the show this year felt more smooth and cohesive than previous editions. So the Miss Namibia organization really surprised me by opening the show with an opening question. All different questions, of course, which Adriano asked every single girl. And I must say, some of the girls had not a milligram of authenticity to their voices. It was very obvious that the women had the questions or an idea of what was going to be asked beforehand, because some of the answers were very formulaic and conceited. But I must say, some of the women really stood out in an amazing way, most surprising of which was Shantae, who really impressed me. Other women who I think, of course, nailed the opening question was Aurelia, Aurelia is one of the best speakers, if not the best speaker, competing, hands down. Andeline, of course, is a veteran pageant contestant. She has so much experience. And Chloe, of course, being such a fan favorite. She is an amazing woman. So yes, I think those 4 women really nailed the opening question. Next up was the swimsuit competition, which I was a bit apprehensive when I heard that the Miss Namibia organization were doing a swimsuit competition this year, but I was pleasantly surprised. Usually, believe it or not, the Miss Namibia organization doesn't like their girls wearing swimsuits and heels together for some reason, but this year they decided to, branch out a bit, I suppose, and the girls were wearing swimsuits and they were wearing heels and they had their little capes and things like that. Of course, some of the performances left much to be desired, but I really think that Chloe, Stella and Shantae gave great swimsuit performances, and I think they were the best in swimsuit. In terms of the gown performances, the music that the women walked to was awful. Later on, after each of the girls had the opportunity to come out one by one, there was an artist who gave a standard great performance, and I really think that the women should have come out one by one, had their moment with him singing, rather than whatever music they were playing when they had the opportunity to come out one by one. They did come out as a group while this person, I can't remember his name for the life of me, was singing. But I really think that it would have been more of a moment, because, a gown performance is supposed to be a moment. It's supposed to be magical. It's supposed to be, I suppose, sensual. And the music really, really ruined the vibe for me when it came to gown. And I understand that the Miss Namibia organization worked with Namibian designers this year in order to produce these gowns. I think they probably, they are copying the Miss South Africa organization a bit, you must admit. But, if they're going to support Namibian designers, I am all for it. I mean, copy away. Our designers, our fashion industry really needs all the support we are willing to give them. But, and I am going to say but, some of these dresses, they looked a bit rushed. And I'm not surprised, because I think it was just a bit more than a month ago that the Miss Namibia organization did the call out. Yes, and it shows. It shows. So we can't really judge the girls on their gowns, because it really wasn't most of their choices. Andeline, for some reason, came out in a synergy gown, which synergy wasn't one of the chosen designers, I don't think, because she was the only one coming out in a synergy gown, and her gown looked amazing. So best in gown for me, long story short, best in gown for me was Happy, Chloe and Andeline. I loved Andeline's gown, loved it. Synergy is just such a genius. If you're ever looking for an incredible gown designer in Namibia, I'm telling you, Synergy is amazing. So at this point, okay, I'm like, who is the common denominator in all 3 of these aspects of competition? So we had the opening question, we had swimsuit, and we had gown. The girl who stood out in all 3 of these for me was Chloe. Chloe was amazing in all 3 aspects of competition. And even Andeline was great. So I fully expected these 2 women to go on to the top 5, right? Especially Chloe. So they went on to announce a bunch of, I suppose, ceremonial titles such as photogenic and top model, which Chelsea won, Miss Public Speaking, which Chloe won, the fitness award, which went to Annery for some reason, and Miss Congeniality, which went to Shahida, which I wasn't that surprised about because Shahida is just a sweet and kind little person. But then they announced top 5. Guys! So I was sitting there listening to Adriano announce the top 5. And in the top 5, let's not forget my original top 5, which was Aurelia, Andeline, Chloe, Chelsea, and Priska. So it was announced Aurelia was in the top 5, Chelsea was in the top 5, Shanae and Marshall was in the top 5, Annery was in the top 5, and Michelle was in the top 5. So at this point, I'm like, Connie, Auntie, what is going on? I don't want this to be like Miss Universe. I don't, okay? No, I'm over Miss Universe. I put all of that behind me. I've been restful the past 2 weeks. But this top 5, guys, there are 2 people in there that don't belong. And I'm not going to talk about who they are, because you know. If you've been following me, you know, okay? You know. But Chloe belonged in. Chloe was robbed. Chloe was robbed, okay? I just had to say it because I've been feeling it since last night. Chloe deserved the spot in the top 5. And for some reason, it feels like they left her out on purpose in order to engineer something. That's how it feels. So when it came to Naja's final walk, Naja has been the longest reigning Miss Namibia. She looked like a dream. She has blossomed into such an incredible woman the past 2 years. I absolutely loved her farewell gown. She looked just like an absolute dream. I'm going to miss her as Miss Namibia, to be honest with you. I started covering Miss Namibia like 2 years ago, her first year competing, when I really started following. And really, I'm going to miss her a lot. So when it came to final question, all of the girls were asked the exact same question, like how will you represent Namibia overseas, or how will you, something like that. And to me, hands down, Aurelia had the best answer at this point. I really thought that Aurelia would win because she had the best answer, you must admit. So we got second runner-up and we got first runner-up. Hey! So second runner-up is announced. I'm like, okay. First runner-up is announced. I'm like, whoever wins better not get sick, ill, get fired, dethroned, die, please. And when it comes to the winner, I for sure thought it should be either Aurelia or Chelsea. They were both in my top 5. I mentioned that anyone in my top 5 could win and I would be happy, I would be ecstatic. So for sure, I thought it should be either Aurelia or Chelsea. Otherwise, I'm just going to pretend that this year's edition of Miss Namibia does not exist. Luckily for me, it was announced that Chelsea Shikongu is Miss Namibia 2021, which I was very happy about. So all in all, I was so happy that Chelsea won Miss Namibia, but I think the first and second runner-up positions should have gone to different people. And I don't think that the top 5 was particularly fair, especially because Chloe was left out and she certainly deserved a spot. But this is what happens when you make sponsors judges, guys. Luckily, someone deserving won in the end at least. So I'm happy about that. Anyway, sorry this is late, and thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram for more updates over there. I would love to have you. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!